Hi guys. Happy Friday. Happy Black Friday. Yeah, it I know today is Black Friday and I'm pretty sure a lot of you guys are spending time with your family, your friends. But the core reason why I wanted to open up this live stream is first I realized that right now I because I've been like trying to consolidate my thoughts for a while, so I have reduced the amount of live stream that I've been conducting for the last 3 to 4 weeks. And I do realize that I should be working a little bit harder on my live streams. And secondly is really because I do think I've spent enough time where I would say, I have a little bit more personal thoughts to share with you guys during this live stream. So with such a weird timing, I opened this live stream and I hope like maybe some of you guys who has not gone out yet for this Friday night could tune in and listening to me reflecting on life on learnings. Uh, for the last several weeks, when I was doing the normal Guardians Echo live stream session with Alvin, we usually talk about the market, right? How do we think about the overall crypto market? How do we think about poly market? Why VC tokens are not working? What are some profit generating opportunities in the current market where retail users can take a look at? But I think aside from that, there's always this like bigger picture of life, right? How you balance your life between work and relationship, or you call it connections, and how do you manage your life as a system. Mm, to be honest, for the whole 2024, 2025, I have spent a lot of time pondering on this specific topic. Mainly, maybe it's because my age, right? After 30, as a female who has a lot of struggle. Struggle may not be the right word. As a female who actually have the have a more unique perspective because obviously I think the percentage of female trying to be a founder or trying to stay in the powerhouse is not as high as male. I mean, I'm not trying to cast a bias. It's purely on statistics, right? Right. And so naturally, when I chat with a lot of friends, including my investors, my mentors, they're gonna they're gonna always ask me, Meina, how do you think about the work life balance? Is it harder for you as a female founder? So I today I gotta reflect on that. um, I do think okay, this is so okay. Let me think about this. I do think this is both gender specific or not gender specific, because to be honest, for all the founder friends that I know in across different industries, no matter male or female, we all suffer from a problem is that we never have a lot of time and enough attention spent to take care of your like personal lives. This is reality, and this reality will not be changed uh, as long as you are still in that building phase, as long as you care so much about what you are building and the effect that it has the effect of your product that that has on the society or on your users. Uh, and then, to be honest, I think the best way to tackle it is like you need to directly face it. When you when I say directly face it, it's not saying that you just give up, right? It's more like you acknowledge the fact, okay, there's this problem. You have a work life balance problem. But both of your hands, on the left hand is your career, your company, whatever you're building. On the right hand is your personal relationships, right? No matter the time you spend with your parents, your loved ones, your friends, and both of them connect to your heart. And I genuinely believe that like it's only like when you achieve the balance that you want to achieve that fits your lifestyle, then you will have a more stable mentality to go through the upside and downside of life. What I meant is maybe some people they just need 80% of work and 20% of personal connection. Some people they will be like, I want a 50-50. Some people will be like, okay, I want a 30 career, like 70 connection, right? It's also a spectrum of where you are in the life. Like if we're really gonna be quantifying the different perspective of life, like you basically have a skill, right? Okay, here how risky am I with my money? 0 to 100. How much time do I want to pay attention to my personal life? 0 to 100. And how much do I value friendship? How much do I value my my belief, my conviction, right? Everybody it has been providing a more personalized choice and entering it into this world. So whenever I think about those problems, I will always go back to your own, like just ask yourself, what do you truly want from life? And then once you choose it, you understand the sacrifice, the allocation across those different categories, then you need to be fine. You need to be peaceful with your choice because every single choice has a cost and after effect on that. Hello, hello. I see a lot of people joining. Hello. Happy Friday. That's like the first thought that I have for work life balance. Second, I do think we're gonna see a much more niche than breakdown of social lives. You can already see that like as we have more time to reflect on ourselves as well as delve into our own deeper thinking and explore who you are as a person, you as you become more mature, you understand what you truly want. You understand like the core values and the core principles you truly value. So naturally you will be drawn into the person who share a similar mindset, no matter from the logical perspective, right? How they collect information to the data processing process, meaning when you as an individual receive those specific pieces of information, how you put all those different pieces together, put it into a collage, and then form your own map, your own mind map, and your thinking process of dealing with those different issues, the way you store, ditch, process the data, right? Think of all of our memories as well as like everyday whatever we're seeing, right? It's either audio data or it's visual data or it's text data, whatever that is, right? Different format, and then all those information kind of get parsed by your brain and stored in your brain. And then whenever you are talking about something, you are making your own decision. You you receive new data and using your own all the principles that you have formed as well as your muscle memory, your brain memory, and you generate your decision point. When I say decision point, it could mean you want to do something or you don't want to do something. There are like I'm just generalizing the problem here, right? The core point here is that it's everybody's belief is constantly changing. We form our conviction and principles based on this changing world. So maybe at some specific moment or at a certain period of time, you will be sharing with a group of people who have like similar thoughts as well as thinking process. But as the timeline shifts, the the thinking process as well as the coursing principles for each of the individual within that group, right, will be shifted. So I think like people's connection really lasts long only for those individuals who meet at a certain timeline where they are who meet at a certain time point, and also they share certain amount of time together and experience together, so that like they continue to update their brain memory as well as function their brain function in a similar way, in the similar trajectory. And that means like the longer the bonding, the more experience you have, like this the stronger it gonna be. And I do think like for people who are highly competitive or who always want to be learning new stuffs in this world, which I think like majority of Twitter users or top Twitter users are have share that mentality, gonna be closer and closer to each other. But of course, you gonna further break down those users into different beliefs, no matter from a political, economic, educational perspective, right? Mm. And I think it one person could be if you measure the belief or you divide people into different groups based on each individual topic, that just means like the more overlap you have with certain person, the higher of the connection you're gonna feel. Say I have a certain belief about coffee, right? I like certain kind of coffee and a certain belief of like trading style, right? So naturally the person you share both the coffee taste plus the trading style gonna have like you're gonna have a higher bonding than the person you only share the trading behavior with. So I gotta go back to my always like always saying like my statistical mind. I feel like most of the things in your life can be modeled by data in certain way, and people are always like subconsciously modeling uh, the historical data as well as the projected outcomes of each individual events. But the hard part I think is like a lot of time people confuse independent event with versus conditional events. Uh, say when you roll a dice, right? Each roll is an independent event. Mm. But people have the tendency they they want to use the global statistics or probability to make decisions. Mm. Mm, okay. And going back um to the female thinking, right? Originally I was mentioning a lot of times I feel the drive to share is also because maybe because of my identity. Um, because as I stated in the very beginning, it's there's not a lot of female founders or out there. I mean, I'm certain there are many like successful ones, right? There are. I'm just saying like based on a general statistical point. So I always will run into female fellows or female friends who gonna ask me, "Oh, why do you choose this path?" Or how do I think about my life? um, mm, this is a very broad question, but I think like the majority of my sense of belonging or sense of life coming from how you starting from how you take responsibility for yourself, and then it slowly expand into how I become more and more responsible for the people around me, including my team, including my business partners, including my family. Uh, and by being responsible for your company, for your business, for friendships, for a lot of things, right? You you have the sense of empowerment, which I truly enjoy, even though it also gives you more pressure on an individual perspective. So I also think this is a life choice more than anything else. Maybe some people they just want to enjoy life instead of like taking a lot of responsibility. There's no right or wrong, happy or sad answers here. Uh, Again, it's a personal choice. Mm, and probably for a really long time, because the educational system towards females has always been, oh, you don't have to do much, you don't there are some other people handling this. So the natural instinct for females uh, are very different, and the traditional perspective as well as expectation for female is also different from male. But I really hope like with the advancement of AI as well as the societal shift, because you literally can feel it, right? And with the development of the more robotic stuffs, the physical competitiveness of male will be mitigated by the robotics, I hope. And then by freeing a lot of those tedious work, uh, physical driven work, I do believe like finally the female and male can have a more fair playing ground and competition ground in different perspectives. By the way, okay. In addition to those like philosophical thinking, I also saw a really good tweet today talking about like how you utilizing different AI prompts to expand your thinking process. I will post the link here. But basically, you can just okay. Let me share my screen. But basically, you can ask the AI prompt like, okay, what are the physics of this problem, right? They will then the AI gonna review the constraints, the real forces, and then negotiable bottlenecks. You can literally like try this prompt with your specific business. On the other side is, oh, if you remove all the existing assumptions, how would I solve it? The example they give here is like how you ship or how you create your product, right? And then all of those guidelines are pretty general, but if you add a little bit more context into the AI prompt, right? So basically, here you can tell the AI prompt what you do, what you are building right now. And for my example, using myself as an example, I say, oh, I'm the founder of Sprout. We are building the personalized yield platform for retail users. And then I will tell them it a little bit more background information. Say, oh, whenever the user choose a different risk score, we're gonna match them with a different yield portfolio, and then we will automatically rebalance them. And then after that, I say, if I couldn't rely on existing assumptions, how would I solve the user distribution process, right? I can also tell it a little bit more about how I'm distributing the product to users. And then the AI agent gonna start to consider the problem or think brainstorm the problem together with me. What are the problems fundamental? Yeah. I think like for the remaining of this tweet, this one is like what I really like. If I were forced to cut 90% of this, what will remain? It's it really like help you to prioritize like what you want to achieve from a business goal perspective or product feature shipping perspective, right? And And then the author further included more examples, say, oh, if this failed completely, what would be the root cause? Da da da. What would a solution like it by in more industry norms? I think the most important feature for AI so far for me is I can literally utilize it to think together with me, which before the AI era, um, you always face the limitation of, first of all, you don't it's almost impossible for you to get access to expert from any industry like 24/7, but AI unlocks this for you. Second is like, maybe before, when we meet an expert from certain areas, say traditional finance, from trading, from UX design, right? Because maybe because you're not very good friend with him or her, or you also want to be more respectful of their time, so you will only have like limited chances and time to really ask them questions. You also don't want to be annoying, right? But AI remove this limitation because you get unlimited attempts and chances to ask this specific AI agent expert for all the questions you want, and you can ask it to break it down to the deepest level to and explain it like you are 5 years old, which I think this helps me to learn a new concept in such a thorough way. I sometimes I literally will say, "Oh, can you explain this to me in both a mathematical way as well as a logical way in both English and Chinese?" So I will learn the same similar concept within different flows. And when you learn similar concept in different language flows, it also deepen your thinking, because the perception how human beings brain function is when you see different forms of content, it kind of trigger a different part of your brain. So the more repetition, the more diversified form of learning that you are adopting, the deeper understanding you're gonna have. It's not a 100% positive correlation, or it's not a linear correlation. Say, oh, you get 2x or 3x of understanding, but it's definitely like reinforcing each other. Mm, okay. Another thing I have been thinking about is really, mm, another thing I've really been thinking about a lot recently is about the content. Because mm, I think it's very easy to fall into the trap where you, as a content creator, or you being on the Twitter platform for a long time, to think about, oh, I should monitor what people are talking about, and maybe I should comment on this like really trendy topic because everybody is talking about it. But on the other side, you will always struggle in a way where you're gonna think, oh, I don't want to be the trend chaser. I actually just want to continuously to comment or to talk about like what I truly care about, and then communicate your core beliefs and philosophical thinking to your followers. Um, to be honest, I'm still trying to figure this out. But one core learning is like, before, or maybe several months ago, I always think about what I want to say about what really is meaningful to me. But now I start to think of more about, oh, okay, it's okay for me to think, this is what I want to say, right? Maybe today I want to talk about the philosophy. Maybe today I want to talk about the experience of being a female founder. But what value does it actually bring to your audience? Does it really bring a new, purely new perspective to people, or would people feel like, oh, this is not applicable to my experience at all, and then of course they're gonna click the exit, right? Um, and the other day, I also tweet out, right? If you are just echoing other people's opinion with a stamp on your own timeline, then maybe just abandon that tweet. Is what truly matters is your organic thinking, your logical thinking flow. And if you can demonstrate that process to people as well as your unique findings, then by compounding more and more of those content out there, I think eventually you will be able to attract people who share a similar mindset. Like one interesting thing I've found recently is like sometimes when I scroll my timeline and I will click likes on my timeline on tweet, and I will find some of the people on my timeline like I never followed them before, and I didn't even click on their tweet for a like. I was about to, but then in maybe 5 minutes later, that person also liked one of my tweet. I don't know how this happened, but I think this just shows, oh, okay, the matching algorithm is actually very interesting. So the Twitter is pushing the content that I have a very high probability of like to my timeline. And then on the other side, it's a mutual selection that, and it also happens to be the person I was about to like, he or she also liked my content at the same time. Um, and this really echoes and reinforces what I was talking about earlier is the feeling, the sense of connection. So So what really people are seeking on social media is the sense of belonging, the sense of connection, like the sense of being able to communicate, get the validation, get the shared conviction from people behind the screens, no matter you are anon or not anon. Mm. And thank you guys for joining on this Friday night. I know it's very random. I actually have prepared a lot of thoughts before I open up the live stream, but now I'm kind of blanking on those thoughts. Taking some downtime to recharge yourself mentally and physically is also very, very important. It's almost as as much important as you compete on your battlefield. I'm just scrolling through my Twitter. I personally think I've kind of like trained my timeline really well, but sometimes when I see some really like dumb tweets, I have to control myself so much. I'm like, okay, Maynard, don't comment on it. Don't say anything. Mm. For whoever is just joining the live stream, I'm thinking about what kind of topic I want to share. Um, I was originally going to comment a little bit more on the prediction market meta because I've been seeing so many different tweets as well as long form articles of top poly market traders talking about how they are making money with prediction markets. Mm. But honestly, with prediction market, you need to break into different market sectors, right? You have the professional sports betting. You Then you also have like esports betting. Then you have the weather or extreme events betting, and then on the other side, the fourth category probably gonna be political events betting, right? Uh, and then for the traditional for the sports betting section, there are already a lot of traditional solutions uh, that people have been using for many years, and then their pricing model for the different selection of the bets uh, is already very mature, right? If you think about Pinnacle, for example, and then there are also a category of traders who are the professional sports betters or market makers in a space. So I think like for those, it's almost a good idea to for you to always compare the pricing as well as the odds across the traditional like sports betting market versus the prediction market. The more creative ones, which will be those newer markets get open up. Say, I see people are betting about reality shows. I see people are betting about the cryptocurrency. I see people are betting about the newly launched token FDBs, right? Those usually those bets, if they are newer or they have less attention, then liquidity depths will be a little bit shallower than the other ones. Second is like because it's newer, may if you have the edge information, then maybe you can make a lot of money from that. Mm, I I'm not sure if following those holy market traders will help you to become better at at using prediction markets. You can, of course, you can do some copy trading, but uh, then you are rely on the assumption that okay, those people who you are following, they're gonna post their trade decisions real time. And if you are following, let's say you are track some wallet addresses on chain on how they are betting on prediction market, then you I think that would be more real time, but you will never know why that person placed that specific bets at that moment. Not even some explanation from Twitter. So risks for both of those approach exist. Mm. But I guess like people are just addicted to the sense, to the feeling of sort of directing the how different real life events gonna shape via prediction market. This kind of this kind of feeling is will be addicting over time. Okay. I think I have surpassed my 30-40 minutes mark. Um Let me think about like a more like an ending topic where I want to. Mm, I think another thing that I realized in life is also another principle or finding that I learned about myself is I I I think a lot of my followers or people who have been reading my tweets know that my mentality is I always want to grow. I always want to work harder, spend time, um, changing things, shaping the world into the way I want it to. Because fundamentally, I believe in myself. I believe in the work that you put into this world, right? But there's also another group of people, they don't believe in changes, which is fair. Mm, but I feel this such of a sense of content and joy when I see people that are similar to me in terms of this mindset, and I get to build and reshape the world together with them. This is such a honored feeling, and I would say like I get so much more support and strength from those people that I find share the similar value as I do. So I'm saying this because I'm pretty sure there are a lot of many other people who share the similar view as I do, but you guys are not communicating with me right now through this live stream, or you didn't see the tweet. Doesn't matter. If you ever get to see this video, just remember, like, don't feel frustrated. There are people who believe in change. There are people who believe in personal empowerment, in influence, and it's our committed conviction and continuous conviction and belief that are shifting the world piece by piece, slowly, steadily. So ever, don't you ever get discouraged. Do the things you really enjoy, work on the changes, put into the work, compound the no matter the first order or the first degree or second degree consequences effect. Mm, and keep shipping and pushing. People who believe things can be changed will always adapt to adopt a better version of themselves. People who doesn't believe that things can be changed, they are stagnant in a way. And I'm a firm believer of this. Anyways, um, I think this is all I want to share today. I hope you get some strength, some empowerment through this. I wish everybody a very happy Thanksgiving, a happy Black Friday. Get the things you want to buy. Take some rest, touch some grass this weekend, and we will come back stronger next week. We will continue to ship. We will continue to build the ideal life that we wanted to have. Experience all the magical feelings that this world has yet to provide to us, and explore new cultures, always in a mindset of exploring, accepting, and finding more creativity. And I actually also sent this Instagram the other day. The saying that catch my imagination. I think really, uh, if I look back, what I have imagined many years ago when I was younger, when I was a teenager, to maybe when I was early 20, mid 20, every single thing I imagined, I kind of like experienced it. So I truly believe that the limitation of your life is you are just limited by your own language model. You are limited by your own thinking. You are limited by your imagination. And if you ever find a way to broaden your imagination, to reinforce your imagination, then it just like opens a new path for you to explore life. And I'm truly looking forward to that perspective. Anyways, again, thank you guys for tuning in. Cheers, and I will see you guys next time. Maybe tomorrow, maybe next week. Who knows? Bye.